Hey y'all, so as you can see behind me, we've got this bed totally cleaned out with everything that will be removed, and we dug up the boxwoods that we wanted to repurpose. So had a couple issues with the boxwoods. I don't have as much faith as I did initially about transplanting these boxwoods. When I dug them up, even though they had I dug massive holes bigger than the boxwood itself, they all just kind of fell apart like they were initially separate plants. So I'm gonna give them a shot. I'm gonna plant them back there. Worst case scenario, they don't make it, and then I will just get a new hedge of boxwoods back there. I would obviously prefer to use these boxwoods that I dug up from the landscape, but the roots were just so small and they were pretty mature boxwoods. So I'm just a little bit confused as to why they just fell apart into like 2 or 3 plants essentially. And I don't know if they were planted like that initially and they just kind of grew together, but that's just kind of what I'm dealing with, and it's part of gardening. So let me just turn around and show you guys the boxwoods, and then I'll show you guys the total space over here, and then I'll get the boxwoods planted and I'll get the plants put in place, and you guys can get a better idea of how it's gonna look. Okay, so like I dug up this boxwood right here, and you can see this was all one boxwood. It fit together just like this, perfectly round. And when I dug it up, it just fell apart like it was multiple different plants. So the soil wasn't too dry or anything like that. I'm going to remove this vinca because I'm not going to want any vinca in there. But I'm going to try to plant them. I'm going to try to save them. Like I said, worst case scenario, we're going to give them a shot. Worst case scenario, I have to get a new hedge of boxwoods. But let's just look at this space. So totally cleaned out. I said the other day that I might keep the yew that was right here. I decided against that. And I also decided against the bishop's hat. And let me tell you why. So these oak leaf hydrangeas, I really like them there. I think they're pretty. I'm just going to mirror that down here. So I'm going to grab a couple oak leaf hydrangeas probably next week, and maybe this weekend if I can get to the nursery, but we have some company in town, so I don't know that I will be getting that done. But like I mentioned, hedge of boxwoods, and the hedge of boxwoods is not going to look very good initially, and if they do make it, then I'm going to have to be patient with the smaller ones to grow to the size of some of the larger ones, and then I'm also going to plan on pruning that into a square hedge. But this is the space. I will be getting these boxwoods planted. I'm going to set up my camera, get these boxwoods planted, and then I will place all of the other plants that I showed you guys in the previous video all along here, and it'll be much easier with the nandinas and the some of the yews out to see what it's actually going to look like. So let me just set my camera up and we'll get started. So as you can see while I'm digging, a lot of people ask about the water, if we were gonna move the water. And honestly, you can see the spout that's right there. I could easily run a line over and put like a post over here or something, but there's really just not a good place because there is a large blue atlas here and there is a very large maple here. So I think we're gonna leave it for the time being and just kind of work around it. I know it's not the most aesthetically pleasing location, but for now it's just gonna have to work. I'm also dealing with, you could see right here, I'm also dealing with some large roots to either the maple or the blue atlas cedar that I don't want to damage. So I'm going to work around those as well. So if some of the holes look just a little bit off and not quite as in line, that's why. All right, got these holes dug. They kind of look haphazard, but the soil is really good and really soft. And so it was super easy to dig the holes and they're not super structured looking. But I'm going to go ahead and fill this with some plant tone, and then we'll get to planting the boxwoods. This is one of the few that had a good solid root ball that didn't fall apart. I'm dealing with the tree root on this one right here. See what we can do about it. See if I can figure out how this goes back together. I don't know that this boxwood has a chance, but we're gonna try. Okay, and I actually switched this one out really quick. I didn't realize until I got to looking really close that these are mountain gems or mountain gems or green velvet, I'm not sure which. So it wasn't the same variety as the rest of them. So I wanted to get that switched out because I had one more that I could remove from the landscape and it came up fairly good. So here is the hedge, and while it's not instant gratification, hopefully over time they will fill in. And as I mentioned in the previous video, I am going to make these a square hedge. So hopefully most of these make it, if not all of them. Worst case scenario, I have to go to the nursery and buy about 10 smaller boxwoods. But I'm hoping I don't have to do that. And overall, I mean, for repurposing and transplanting, I think they look pretty good. So let's cross our fingers and hope they do well. I'm just a little bit concerned about some of the root issues that I was dealing with on a couple of these boxwoods, but we'll give it a shot. Now let me just take a step back and I'll set my camera up and I will put in place all of these guys. And these are just rocks, some flagstone that I hit while I was digging in this bed. We also are probably going to have someone come and cut this down, or we can cut it down ourselves just to make it a little bit shorter and a little bit more discreet. But anyway, let me just get my camera set up and I'll get these other plants in place. All right, so here's the final look. Just a reminder that oak leaf hydrangeas will go there. And I might have bought one too many plants. Imagine that. But we'll get them all popped in here. And once they're out of their nursery cans and at ground level, I think it'll look a little bit different as well. So the Great Amethyst Heuchera is roughly 14 inches high. And the Sienna Heuchera, I think, is roughly 12. And then they were roughly 24 inches. The width was roughly 24 inches, so they'll spread out and fill in. The Japanese holly fern, excuse me, will be about roughly 36. And then the same for the Halcyon Hostas. So once they get more to their mature size, I think everything will stagger nicely. My plan for the hostas is just to kind of pop out of some of the other foliage with that blue accent. So, and the dogs are about to start howling because the tornado sirens just went off every Saturday at noon. Okay, so we're finished. I am a hot and sweaty mess. It is so humid outside today. So I'm just gonna go ahead, turn around, and show you guys the final product. All right, here it is. I think it's pretty cool toned, and I'm very, very happy with it. Once everything starts to fill in, I fed the hydrangeas as well. Figured they might be able to use it. I need to get some of this border and stuff just a little more cleaned up, but I kind of made a mess when I watered. But anyways, this is it. I can't wait for it to fill in and grow together, and I'll keep you guys posted on this and how the boxwoods do. Man, I just don't really know what to expect with the boxwoods. It was so odd when we dug them up, how they just fell apart like that. And we've had so much rain lately, so it wasn't a water issue. Maybe they were just planted as individual plants and just kind of grew together. But anyways, I'll keep you posted. Sometimes when you garden, you just kind of have to take some chances, and these boxwoods, transplanting these boxwoods are definitely one of those risks. So anyway, that's what I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this video was somewhat helpful for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.